Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. My guest today is Secular Rarity. Hello, Secular Rarity.
Hey, it's good to be back. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't
I
it?
know, I know, I know. It's been a long time when we think about the last time you and I actually got to hang out. That was many years ago up in Indiana. So I saw you down at Free Flow with a bunch of really cool people. It looked
You
like
were there?
no, I wasn't. I was
Oh,
looking at all the pictures. No, I
oh,
saw
okay.
all you incredible people hanging out, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks like you and GE and the Punk Apostate and the Apostate Sisters, just a
Mm-hmm.
whole amazing group of people. So
Okay, I'm seeing some people are saying that my video isn't coming through. I'm gonna
oh,
and put myself back on. There.
hmm,
That did that fix it? There we go. Yeah, that fixed it. Okay, very good.
sweet.
My signal strength on my Wi-Fi is really low.
Mm.
I'm hardwired in, but even though I'm hardwired in, we still have low signal strength. So if I disappear, just take it away until I get back. I'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hold down the fort. Yeah, we'll figure something to talk about. Anybody out there that knows me is like, yeah, SR, he'll talk forever. So
Uh-huh. Okay, I have one housekeeping measure that I want to discuss first, and that is my banner. Um, for any of you that were wondering why you were not on the banner, here is the thing. StreamYard had a 500 character limit on the banners for a long time. And so it used to be that anybody that joined the channel or anybody who supported me, even for $1 a month, was on the banner. And then when I reached my character limit, I cut off anyone who was at the lowest tier because that was actually never promised to anyone. But then StreamYard added another 500 characters. So I started adding anyone who even was at the lowest tier to the banner. But anyone who joined during that period when I didn't have anyone in the lowest tier on, they got missed. And today I went through the banner and I was checking the banner versus my Patreon, the banner versus um, my channel members to make sure that I had everyone on there. And I took off the people who have since left. And I think I have it all right now. There's also one other issue, and that is when I look at the channel members, I scroll down, and for some reason, the scroll jumps up. And there's a couple people at the bottom of the screen that it's really hard to see because every time I try to see their name, it jumps up and won't let me see them. So if you should be on the banner and are not, please either send me an email or put a comment on a video or something or on this video, and I'll make sure that you get on the banner. And I got a comment last time from someone who said that the banner is distracting. And to her, I would just suggest just scroll down so that you eliminate the banner from the bottom of your screen, and that should take care of it for you. Okay, and with that, Secular Rarity, it is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited. And I would just say, real quick to everybody out there, yeah, I have heard, I don't know that this is true, but I have heard if you send a $5 super chat in the live chat, and want to make suggestions for changing the banner, I have heard that Godless Granny is able to process those requests faster. So, you could just try it. You could just send money and then be like, hey, put me in the banner as well. So I don't know, just see what happens.
Anyone who sends super chats on the Friday videos gets a cookie in
Oh
either
my
the
God.
following video or the video after that.
Oh my gosh, you guys, what are you doing? Why are you not? Yeah, there's like you're just leaving cookies on the table. That's honestly, it's a bad investment on your part not donating. Like,
Of course, it's
geez.
not a real cookie, it's a virtual cookie, but
Yeah, still.
now, Secular Rarity, I understand that you've recently started a new project. Can you tell
Yeah.
us about your project and what it's called and what it's all about?
Yeah. About 6 months ago, myself and a group of fairly involved, active atheists, non-religious humanists in the Middle Tennessee area, we had been going to a bunch of different groups, and we had been, having all these wonderful opportunities, getting to hang out with secular people, and we started to realize that there was a hole that wasn't being filled in our community. And one of the biggest reasons, actually, we were realizing that our community wasn't able to grow was because of this hole. And basically, right now in Middle Tennessee, there's over a dozen groups that meet on a regular basis that have something to do with humanism or deconstruction or secularism, atheists, agnostics, and the biggest problem is they don't connect with each other. There's
Mm.
nobody out there that is actively trying to highlight and cross-pollinate these groups. And in fairness, they can't do it, right? They are focused on what their mission is. They're focused on what their goal is for their organization, and they just don't have the time to find out what the local humanist group is doing, what new chapter of recovering from religion is in our area. They just don't have time to reach out and tell people about the next Americans United protest that's going on. Well, that's the thing that we started. So we realized that our side on the non-religious, our side on the secular side, we don't have the deep connection that the religious side does. The One of the biggest things right now that the, Christian nationalists kind of vein of this country has for them is this deeply interwoven, I always say incestuous kind of uh, organizational structure where the president of this group is the best friend of the guy that's the head of this part of the group, and this group makes the pamphlets, and that group organizes the events, and then this group writes the policies, and that that level of connection and support is what we're missing. And so that's why we started a brand new 501c3 called Secular Rising US. And our goal is to help secular people find their people. So we are already hosting a couple of different events. We are already out there highlighting different organizations and trying to just raise awareness and bring more attention to them and bring more people. We've been really, really thankful. We've already seen an increase in a good couple of the groups in this area. And yeah, in the long term, our two big kind of ventures that we're working for. One is a nonstop, a one-stop shop, basically, for all of the non-religious and secular events in this area. If you have a group that meets regularly and you're doing something, we want to know about it, and we want to get people out there. And we want people to be able to wake up on any given day, basically, and say, where are my people? What are they doing? And then be able to go connect and find that group. And the other thing, the other big venture that we're going for is we want to provide the first ever dedicated space for non-religious people. There isn't a single building in the entire state of Tennessee that is dedicated for secular activities, for humanist organizations, or non-religious people. And we want to do that. So long term, we'll host all the different organizations here at our building, and we'll provide all kinds of different resources in person for people, and use it as a space to get everybody out and mobilized. So that's kind of the long term plan. So
Fukushang Religion Destroyer says if the United States goes to pot under the current regime, atheists are welcome in Europe.
We
And
appreciate that.
that could be a thing. I've already started looking into moving to Canada
Mm.
as a possibility. Okay, now are you going to have any events for your group?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are already working with somebody in our area. He owns a bar in the area. He's been involved in kind of secular community for a while, and he actually had this idea many years ago, and was just unable to kind of get enough people on board to make this happen. So we recently got connected with him, and we're working on brand new bi-weekly type of event that we're going to be just hosting at his space. But one of the biggest things that we are working on this year, we are very excited, is we are bringing back the Nashville Nuns Convention.
Oh, nice.
That's right. NanoCon is back. It is already out there. The information is up. Nanocon.rocks. You can find all the information, or if you go check out Secular Rising stuff, you can find more information there about it. But we are taking over the whole state park. We're taking over Montgomery Bell State Park again. We've basically got, I think they have like, 180 rooms available at the lodge, and I think we technically booked like 175 of them or something. So we've also got the whole weekend. We've got events planned. We've got awesome speakers and guests and all kinds of fun stuff. There's already, I want to say, like 24 different atheist, non-religious people involved of all different stripes and whatnot. So that's one of the big, that's, the big event that we're planning this year. But at the beginning of that month, because this is, yes, that's right, it's a COD. At the beginning of that month, we are planning a fun day trip out to a small little town called Dayton, Tennessee. And the reason that we're doing this, and we're renting a bus, and we're going to get about, we've got about 50, 60 seats, I think, to get people out there for the whole day. And the reason we are doing this is because Dayton, Tennessee is a small little town who has a fascinating history as being the site of the Scopes monkey trial
Ah.
exactly 100 years ago this year. And
Oh.
all of July, the town puts on this reenactment of the event. They have a local theater that the whole town goes crazy, and because it's the 100th year anniversary, we wanted to really do an event. So tickets are also on sale for that as well, and you can find out more information about that just by checking out all the Secular Rising US stuff, and you can find those
Okay, and the
tickets.
link to Secular Risings is in the description.
That's right.
And if somebody, Fred, if you could pull that link and post it in the chat, I will pin it for you.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. So yeah, we're already excited. We've got those couple of events. We've been doing this thing called the Conversation Coalition for a while now, where we meet once a month in person, and we bring in believers and non-believers, and we get together and we have them hash it out in front of an audience. And normally we go for about an hour of conversation and about 30 minutes of Q&A from the audience. The last 2 or 3 times we've basically packed out the place that we're at. There's some wonderful local venues here that allow us to come out and kind of use their space. And we had about 50 or 60 the last 2 times. We had I want to say about 40 of those were from a couple of local churches. So we've got a few pastors on board from the area that come out and chat with us and allow us to push back and question. And the whole
Cool.
the whole point of that is we want to demonstrate challenging yet cordial conversation.
Mhm.
It's not about debate. It's not about crushing the other side. It's legitimately about what is a conversation like between people who disagree, but want to really understand and want to actually come to the right answer, and doing that from a place of compassion as opposed to trying to speak down to people or just prove people wrong. So we've been really, really thankful, for all the support for that stuff. Of course, normally what ends up happening is the whole event goes for about an hour and a half. And about 2 to 3 hours later, somebody has to kind of stand up and go like, all right, everybody, they're kicking us out. We got to go home, because everybody's just been standing around talking with each other and learning and having fun. We have plans to do a couple of other really cool events. So one of the things that I know that I find particularly valuable is growing my own understanding. And so education is something that is very much important for us. And we want to offer people some opportunities to learn different things. So, for instance, a buddy of mine created a series a few years ago that was focused entirely on secular morality. And basically, it was a breakdown of, what does this look like? How do we understand, like, what is the actual discourse on this from philosophers for years? Like, what do people think about this? So breaking that down and explaining that. But also there's this really cool nonprofit organization called Street Epistemology International. And one of the super cool people there, of course, Anthony Magnabosco, an OG in the space. But that group created this really cool free course called Navigating Beliefs. And it actually teaches you step by step how to do street epistemology. So we want to start getting some of those offered in our area, and start just offering free classes where we can walk through that together and just all kind of have that opportunity to learn and grow. And of course, we want spaces for people to be able to do some tangible good in their communities.
I've thought about putting up a table that I've seen other people do with a sign that just says, "There is no God, change my mind." That way, you're not in anybody's face. You're not engaging with anybody that doesn't choose to engage with you. And that makes for a good beginning for a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's one of the biggest things that we still have on our side as a hurdle that we need to overcome. The normalization of non-belief is still something that we have a lot of ground that we need to make up. And one of the reasons that I say that is because maybe not in this country, right? Maybe not in probably a lot of the countries where people are watching from right now. But the fact that there are multiple countries, I think it's like 12. I could be wrong on that, but there's about a dozen countries, I believe, that still have it on the books as a law that blasphemy is a death sentence. And it is more
Oh,
that have it on the
yeah.
books that blasphemy is still just a jailable offense, right? It is even more that you can go to jail for these things. So it's worth recognizing that when we talk about pushing back against theocracy in the government, there is precedent out there that people could look to influence our laws. And that is not something that we should ever forget is a meaningful thing. Standing up and just saying, I don't go to church, is still very important on our side right now, you know? As
Mhm.
much as the Christians want to pretend they're persecuted, like, come on, like, where are you really going to go in this country and not be welcome? You know, like, they might give you a side eye if you say you're Mormon, you know, but it's about it. So,
Left-handed Jedi says a day without blasphemy is like a day without sunshine.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so now the con that you talked about.
Mhm,
Well, let me back up a minute.
mhm.
The event that you talked about in Dayton.
Mhm.
When is the big day?
Yeah, that day. So basically, that town and that theater troupe, they do it like the whole month.
Hmm.
But we are actually going on July 11th.
Okay.
And again, you can get tickets already. Basically, we're taking care of because so the you have to buy tickets there, right, for the play. What we're doing is we're renting a bus, so everybody will all just gather in one spot. It'll be real easy. You'll be able to leave your cars and everything nice and safe, and then we'll all hop on the bus together and be able to get driven out there and driven back, so we don't have to worry about any of that whatsoever. We're going to take care of all of that for you, and truly, the entire ticket is paying for this. It is just paying for renting the bus. It is paying for the ticket out there. It is all really just about providing an opportunity for our people to get together and have some fun and community. So it's not a money making venture on that one. But yeah, down the road, we do want to be able to put on more and more events where we are able to raise some money through ticket sales and stuff because it's important. You know, that's one of
Hmm.
the biggest things that the other side has going for them. You guys,
Hmm.
like I don't know if anybody is aware or not, but Greg Locke, an individual that is very much in my state and pretty close, he recently moved his church. He moved it just a
Oh, we
bit.
did.
He moved it just a bit down the road because he was able to, generate I don't know how many millions of dollars. It was like
Hmm.
3 to 5 million. He was able to generate to go buy this new piece of property and build this, bigger facility on. So that's what we're up against. You understand?
Hmm.
I it's that is the case. I understand that nobody likes the NPR phone drives. It's a bummer for everybody, right? The people doing it don't even like it. You could see it on their faces. They're like, "Hey guys, so we're here again doing this. We need you to call right now and pledge $5. We'll give you a tote bag, I mean, so
Hmm.
like you can
Hmm.
tell. But it's because the Jehovah's Witnesses, for instance, are putting in millions of dollars into kids cartoons. It's because the Catholic Church is able to spend 20, 30, 40 million dollars to hide abusers. That's the fight that we have. The focus on the family, Christian nationalism types of organizations, like they've got wealthy donors that are really really motivated.
Yeah.
So we need on our side, we need to have more connection between us as individuals and us as organizations. We need structure in place because otherwise there we'll all just be running around constantly trying to put out fires as opposed to actually figuring out a system that makes this a healthy environment so that forest fires aren't just starting all the time. That's the world we have to get to, but it's definitely one that takes time. Time and effort and money. So
Okay. Guillermo 10 is trying to start some controversy here. And he says the only blasphemy I acknowledge is pineapple on pizza.
I just want to say, look, I was where you were once, okay? And then I was given an opportunity to try pineapple, bacon, and jalapeno on thin
Yep.
crust.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, that did it for me. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
did it for me. So it was good. Now, I mean, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not a lunatic. I'm not gonna do like barbecue chicken, pineapple, and I don't know, ham or something, or ricotta. I mean, that's there's a limit here. There is a line, but
Okay. Evan Sachs says the only pineapple on pizza I'll accept is on Nutella pizza.
do you mean like
I get probably a cookie crust with
right?
Nutella and then pineapple and probably some other fruit on as well.
Yeah. Well, that
I
sounds
have
amazing.
made a dessert like that, although I didn't use Nutella. I used a cream cheese
Mm,
and powdered sugar as like the sauce, as the topping for
yeah.
the cookie before I put on the fruit. And yeah, those are delicious. I haven't
Yeah.
made one of those in a long time, but those are absolutely delicious. But yeah, Nutella instead of the cream cheese layer sounds really good.
Yeah.
Or
Sounds great.
both, the cream
Oh
cheese
yeah, cream
layer
cheese.
and the
Yeah.
Nutella
Mm-hmm.
layer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good. But I mean, if you're just swapping out if you're keeping everything else on the pizza as is and just swapping out the tomato sauce for Nutella, I have lots of questions for you. I just think, yeah, there might be something like fundamentally
Oh,
wrong
you
with
also
that.
swap out a sugar cookie base
Right, right.
instead of the
Instead
crust.
of right,
Mhm.
right, 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 right. Yeah. Again, if not, if somebody's like, no, Elliot, I just take off the pizza sauce and put Nutella, everything's the same. I'd be like, I have lots of questions. So
And Rimmers Bragari, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, said one of my favorite local pizza places used to
Hmm.
have one with raisins, bananas, and peanuts.
Huh.
I know
Interesting.
that I always enjoyed um, when I lived in Fort Wayne, the Pizza Huts in Fort Wayne are all owned by one person, and they have a reputation for being the best Pizza Huts
Mm.
in the country. So much so that he applied to the chain and asked if he could have a brown roof on his establishments instead of the traditional red roof,
Hmm.
and it was granted to him.
Wow.
So you knew if you looked for the brown roof Pizza Hut, those were superior quality Pizza Huts. And the my favorite was the buffet because you could have a little bit of a couple of different things,
Hmm.
and the dessert pizzas were fantastic.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
they did have regular crust, like a
Mm.
regular crust pizza, but then they had either blueberry or cherry,
Mm-hmm.
or there was a third flavor of apple, and then there was a streusel and a fro-
Mm-hmm.
and a just a little bit of frosting, not completely frosted, but more like a glaze drizzled over the top. And
Mm-hmm.
it was really good.
Do you have Cece's pizzas out your way? Is that something that's like all over the
We
country? I feel
do.
like
We do. I find that to be pretty low quality pizza though.
oh yeah, no, no, no. It is definitely. But there used to be one in our area, but I don't think it's there anymore. I haven't been in like years.
Mhm.
But they always had, like 12 different dessert pizzas. And
Oh, really?
I miss
Oh,
dessert
wow.
pizza. That's just something I feel
Yeah.
like I haven't had in my life for a while. So I don't know. Maybe there's somebody out there, like if you've got time and effort, just make a dessert pizza and send it over to me. I'll eat it. So
Cheese
huh.
cubes with fig marmalade is good. That does sound good.
That
I've
does
never
sound
tried fig
I
marmalade,
think
but I
I've
love
had
figs, so that sounds good.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, getting back to our topic.
Nah.
Okay, the Nun Con.
Mhm.
When is that?
That is I'm gonna double triple check, but it's the last weekend of the July, which should be the 26th. Yep, the 25th, 26th, and 27th of July. So that last weekend, out here in the Middle Tennessee area. I'm not gonna say Nashville. This is the thing: is a lot of people would say Nashville,
Mhm.
but it technically is not. It technically is not in the city limits, and I just can't do it. I get real picky about it. So like, yeah, technically not in Nashville. But yeah, very, very close. Like it's like 40 minutes outside. So very close.
Okay, Joey's here. Joey is my resident troll who's constantly trying to derail the conversation to talk about himself, and he claims that I could not tell him where I get my truth from. Joey, if you go back and look, you did not ask me where I get my truth from. You asked what is true. And I told you that what is true is different in different circumstances. And so it is true that I am sitting here right here today. That is true. And I get that truth from observation. So how I get truth is different for different things. But you didn't ask me where I get my truth. You asked me what is true. So don't go complaining that I wouldn't tell you where I get my truth from.
I also don't feel like that question really makes a lot of sense. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people like to ask stuff like that, but like for instance, you know, the conversation where somebody goes, "Yes, but is it actually wrong? Is it really wrong?" And I'm like, "See, that qualifier doesn't do anything for you. You're saying it as if it changes the whole conversation, but it doesn't. Like it doesn't. So, but whatever. Hey, whatever. We've got no truth, no hope, no meaning, no purpose. Ah. No pizza. No. So I just, what are we supposed to do?
So, secular rarity, how many organizations currently are working with you?
Yeah. So we gosh, that's a good question. Let's see. Benevolent Friends, Murfreesboro Freethinkers, RFR Murfreesboro, RFR Nashville, Sunday Assembly Nashville, National Nuns, Humanist Association. There's currently at least 8 different groups that we're actively promoting and highlighting. And we have recently started to work with Bridge City, Durante Lamar's group, because they're close by. They're our neighbors over in like North Carolina, so we're really excited to be doing more stuff with them. They just kicked off their Keep Rising season. So it's this idea of trying to reframe and reclaim the Easter season as it is traditionally known in a lot of places around the world, and trying to put the emphasis back on humanism and back on, you know, the community of individuals trying to support each other and grow. So it was this idea that Durante and his team at Bridge City had gotten together, and he reached out to us and was like, "Hey man, you know, can we do more stuff with y'all? We wanna work together." And I was like, "Dude, yes!" Like, because if you don't know about him and all the stuff he's been doing, you got to go check him out. I promise. You'll watch one video and you'll fall in love like everybody else has. So. And then Black Non-Believers, actually, we just recently got connected with. We had Mandisa Thomas on the live stream, the big fundraiser we did at the beginning of this week. Was it at the beginning of this week? Gosh, it's only been 1 week and it feels like much longer. But yeah, this last Monday we had her on, and Cynthia McDonald was an amazing help. She was producing behind the scenes for us. So they're just down in Atlanta, so they're pretty close as well. But
I thought Cynthia was in Chicago.
well, Cynthia is, but Black
okay.
Non-Believers, like they're like, you know,
they're in Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah. So that is just the start. And we are thrilled to be Oh, that's right. I forgot. There's an AU chapter here in Nashville that has recently seen, no joke, like a 3x, 4x growth in membership.
What's AU?
Americans United for Separation of Church and State.
Okay. Okay.
An awesome organization, folks, and there's probably one in your area. So definitely reach out, find out that. But yeah, there is a ton of groups that we are already so excited that we're getting to kind of promote and highlight and work with. And there's a lot more out there that we're excited to be doing more with as we keep growing and as we're able to just, you know, stand up and support other people. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know, right? I mean, it's And it's funny too, because it's like Easter's the one that changes, you know? It's like
Mhm.
it's like calm down. Like I don't like, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I know this is a tangent. I know this isn't exactly what we were here to talk
That's
about, but
okay.
I just wanna throw this out there. Guys, holidays that change are dumb. Let's stop it. Let's just pick a damn day. Just is it November 15th? Like, I don't care, but just pick the day. Like, there's always going to be 1,000 things. There's always going to be like, it's just, there's not enough days, you know, for all the holidays and the things we want to celebrate. I get it, you know, but this whole like, when is Easter this year? And then you have to like do some weird calculation while you face the sun and like raise your leg, you know. It's dumb. Stop it. Stop it. Just pick a day. Just pick a day. Just, you know, oh, it's the first Monday of October. It's like, no, it isn't. It's the 3rd of October. Sorry. Okay.
Well, actually, I think that lends credence to the fact that Jesus never did rise from the
Right.
dead.
Right.
Because if this were a historical fact, you should be able to point to a time in history when it actually happened.
Probably wouldn't be something like yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you see that star move across the sky, that's about when it happened. It's like, yeah,
Right.
that doesn't feel very accurate, man.
No.
Kind of
No.
feels like one of those the wind is that direction.
Yep.
That direction.
Re-uncultastic, and you were
Exactly.
thinking exactly along the same lines.
Exactly. That's great. That's great. Oh man, that's funny. I was actually hanging out with Ryan and Durante and Chris over on Daily Atheist Morning Show the other day. That was a
Oh,
lot
you
of
were?
fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Those guys get wild.
Okay. If Jesus is a sun god, then it makes sense. Or if he's a moon god.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
they have it tied to the moving of the moon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ramadan's like that too. That's why it changes. You know, it just happens at totally random times of the year. I mean, it's not random because it's,
Mhm.
you know, again, it is based on the lunar calendar. But it's so frustrating in my opinion. You know, also daylight savings time. Let's just stop it. I don't need any more. I don't need any more time in my day. Like I just, it is what it is. You know, just leave it.
Zach Parker asked, even Canadian Thanksgiving, that's on the second Monday in October.
Look, the Canadians, you know, they can do whatever they want, right? If they want to be taken seriously by the rest of the world, they should get their holidays right. But, you know, they're currently not the 51st state, so it's fine. You know, it's fine. I mean, that alone, I think, is the best part. Is it's like, should we make Puerto Rico a state? Like, yeah. Like, should we make DC a state? It's like, yeah. It's like, should we make the entire nation of Canada broken up into multiple provinces, like that are fairly different between? Should we make that one state? Sure, why not? I mean, I don't know. Screw it. That's that in Greenland.
I'm genuinely afraid that we may be dragged into some wars that we do not want.
I hope not on that for sure. It is a very tense time militarily still. Does anybody remember there was this thing that happened and it's been going on for a while now, at least. Like there was a Russia like invaded Ukraine, like that's still happening, you know. Like, I mean, it's wild to think all of the different problems that are existing. And I'm not I don't yeah, which wars do we want? I don't know. It feels like a lot, unfortunately. It feels like a lot of them.
My answer to that question is I want the wars against injustice.
That's a good answer. Yeah. I was going to say something like storage wars. So my answer, yeah, not as good, not as meaningful. But But
Jang says Pizza Wars.
yeah, that'd be a good
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
Pizza
exactly.
Wars are 5.
Exactly. Right.
Mhm.
Who really does have the best pizza on the planet? Let's put this to bed. No, but we're in a
Well,
very
I have no choice but to vote for Domino's
you have no choice but to vote for Domino's.
because my son works for Domino's.
Okay.
And as
Yeah.
long as my
Yeah.
son works for Domino's, the answer to that question is going to be Domino's.
I mean, that's fair. It feels a little bit like collusion to me, but I guess we can let it go, you know. I guess that's allowed nowadays. But but yeah, I am concerned for a few different reasons right now, you know, with
Mhm.
United States for sure. Not to mention, you know, the various economic issues that I think we are going to really unfortunately have to kind of deal with for a little while now.
Yeah.
Um I'm really worried, and I know this may seem a bit silly to be focused on this right now, but I think it'll make sense. I'm really worried about 20 years from now
Mhm. Mhm.
because I'm seeing some things happen that make me really concerned about what the long-term ramifications are, because there are certain things that once you kind of go down a route, um, you're unable to make up that lost ground anymore. So for instance, if a 3-year-old is malnourished, right, due to a lack of funding for their local school, right? There is nothing that you can do by the time that that child is 15. They are physically stunted in a way that you cannot make that ground up anymore. If a if a child at the age of 7 is still unable to read because of, say, undiagnosed social problems, undiagnosed physical, mental issues, or so forth,
Dyslexia.
dyslexia. I mean, an insanely common thing, something that affects millions of people, right? Um,
And we can't have DEI programs to address them.
so what this does, unfortunately, is it it will put in place certain negative ramifications that we just can't actually mitigate down the road anymore. There will be nothing that we can do to make up for a child that did not eat every night when they were 6. There's nothing you can do on that by the time that they're 30, right? There's no
Mhm.
way to make that up. There's no way to make up the lost 2 years of a child's education because we have stripped funding from public education and instead put it in private religious institutions that fail every other year, right? Like there is nothing we can do for that. The various ecological ramifications that will happen down the road, once certain things are in the water, they're just in the water, you know. There doesn't seem to be a way to um, change some of these things, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so I
Well,
know that's
piggy
bleak, y'all. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, piggybacking on that, a couple of other things that I'm really worried about. And I didn't even see, the long range ramifications until I watched Gutsick Gibbons' video about Stand Up for Science
Mhm.
and how cutting so much of the research funding, we are no longer going to be on the cutting edge of research technology. We are
Correct.
going to have to be importing technology because we're
Correct.
not developing it anymore ourselves.
Right.
And one of the things that she said in that video that I was not aware of is she said only about 10% of research is discovery, about 90% of it is baseline. But she said
Mhm.
you can't do the discovery without the baseline.
Yes.
And when you're cutting out all the funding for the baseline, saying, oh, this seems frivolous, this seems frivolous, you're never going to get to any of the discoveries. And then on top of that, we have the problem with, so many students that had already been accepted into graduate programs suddenly have lost their funding.
Right.
And universities have had to unaccept students that had already been accepted. And Canada is reaching out to some of these students and saying, come here, we will take your students, we will fund your research.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a tremendous brain drain. And 20 years from now, try to find a doctor.
Yes.
Try to find someone with higher education. Try to find
Yes.
a scientist. Try to find an architect. Try to find an engineer. You're
Yep.
going to have to be bringing them in from other countries because we're not going to be training them here anymore.
Right. And on top of all of that, let me add just one more little cherry to depress everybody. Okay. Here's the thing though. Good news. I'll spoil it for you a little bit, guys. I am going to try and, give an answer to this. Okay. I'm not just like depressing everybody out there. I mean, a little, but the other thing that I'm very, very concerned about over these next few years, and this one definitely does have longer, term ramifications, but there is an immediate impact that I think will resonate with everybody really strongly, which is the demoralization of our cause and our side and the fight for human rights. See, because a lot of fights have this like stopping point where once you did it, once you had the fight, it's just like done. It's just like over, it's like, we need to build a road. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now the road's here, and like, yeah, you have to maintain it, but like at the very least, the path is there and it's pretty obvious. And as long as people just like walk over it regularly, it'll still be there. Human rights isn't like that. Human rights is a fight that is not one that you stop. It's not one that you ever get to the other side of. It's one that you are constantly holding up a barricade to prevent the floodwaters from pushing you back over, because that's what the other side is actively attempting to do. They're not just comfortable with saying like, oh, the progress has been made, there we go, No, they want to rip it all away. So over the next couple of years, I see the potential for our side to be completely, utterly beaten down and broken emotionally and mentally and physically as well, because I see the other side being particularly interested in utilizing violence, which I think is abhorrent and is just something we should never be fans of. We need to make sure that our side puts in place systems now, because by the end of this year, there's going to be a lot of people that are really tired.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 years from now, I don't know how the hell anybody's going to want to wake up in the morning on most days. So we have to start doing things right now so that we are able to be around 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And with that, this is where I'm going to try, to wrap this up together a little bit, give everybody just a little bit of glimmer of hope, meaning, and purpose. All those things as an atheist, I just can't ever fill in my heart. But this is why I think the best thing we can do right now is start building those connections, building meaningful connections where we are actively focused on reaching out to different people and different groups and sharing in this moment together and saying, hey, I know you're struggling. I know you're having a bad time. When are we getting together? When is your next event? What are you doing that I can go tell everybody else about, right? We don't all need, just so we know, we don't all need to become recovering from religion. No.
Right.
RFR is killing it. They're doing an amazing job. Let's support them. Let's champion what they're doing, and then tell people when somebody, because this is going to happen, somebody's going to come up and they're going to say, I don't really want to sit around and share my feelings, you know? And it's like, right. Did you know there's a protest at the Capitol tomorrow? They're like, oh, I'll do that. I'll make signs, you know, I'll get out there on the steps. I got a speech. It's like, awesome. But then there's going to be that person that says like, man, I don't, that's not really my thing. I mean, rah, but I don't really want to be out there. You know, it's kind of hot and tired. I got a bum knee. It's like, oh yeah, no worries, dude. We're actually, we're all getting together, at the bar, on Tuesday. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, we just hang out, we just chat, we just check in with each other. Like, come join us, you know? Each and every one of those activities can be a completely separate organization, and that's all they do. And that's beautiful, because that's what the other side has, and that's the reason that they don't get demoralized as much as we do.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the ideology. And so many of us know that because we've put that crap into practice day in and day out, and it didn't work. We never received those beautiful feelings that everybody told us we were always supposed to have. It never worked like that, right? We just prayed and prayed and prayed, and we still felt bad for some reason. Okay. Here's how those institutions keep going. It's because on Tuesday, there's 5 different groups going. There's a men's group, there's a women's group, there's a children's group, there's a knitting club, there's a bowling league. And on Thursday, there's just as many groups. On Sunday, there's 5 times as many groups, all happening at the church or around the area. That's what we need to start building on our side. We have been at such a disadvantage. We've been on the back foot for how many hundreds of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, we haven't had the time to build and connect and support each other in the same way that the religious institutions have. But here's my thought. If we don't start now, we'll never get there. If we don't start today, actively trying to say to each other, look, what are you doing next week? I'm going to tell my people about it. You know, hey, man, you don't want to go bowling? Pfft, no worries. Me either. Like, let's go hiking on Saturday. You know, let's get together for the men's group. Let's have secular daycare. Let's build these institutions for the community, so that when people are feeling down, when people are feeling like they can't do anything, they can't make a difference, they can wake up and realize there's this group that gets together every other weekend, and they're actively putting their hands to things in the community. They just built this whole playground. Can you believe that? They built it, man. Yeah, they just know this guy. He's a welder, he's a fabricator, and he just donated his time, man.
I
That's the type
actually
of
love that idea. Building a playground, and having a sign built by the secular community of Alabama or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I could just see people coming and the secular community built us a playground.
Isn't that awesome? Like,
Yeah, that is awesome. I love it. I love
those
it.
those types of ideas, and so much more, those are the things that we have to start paying attention to. We have to start offering that. I love the debate. Okay, I mean, come on, y'all know me. I love to debunk, I love to deconstruct. I love it. It's so much fun. I love pushing back on the heat problem is one of my favorite things ever. I love telling people about that because it's so weird. It's so weird to think about, like how many millions of, not yet, but soon, I'm sure. But how many millions of nuclear bombs going off across the earth, and that's just from the production of limestone. I mean, it's nuts. But here's what I'm thinking, okay? We don't have to stop that. We don't have to end that whatsoever, okay? What if we could start building something, though, in the process? We can do the debunk, we can push back, we can break down. I love that. But what if we could build up at the same time, right? What if we could provide a positive message? What if we could show somebody that when they leave out of that space, when they leave out of that community, and they're starting to now see the facade crumbling, what if we could show them a house, right? That actually works, right? How cool would that be, if we could say to people, "Hey man, I get it. You missed the potluck, and you're struggling to figure out what to do with your spouse right now. You know what? It's crazy, man. We got this psychologist, and she's like, it's really cool, and she's actually worked with the Secular Therapy Project for a few years, and she just volunteers her time twice a month to come and just chat with people. So like, yeah, man, hit her up. That is what is going to make our community successful. It is what is going to allow us to actually make a difference in the world around us. And I I I know that right now a lot of us have a feeling of wanting to cut off, wanting to not be engaged with each other. And I get that. I
Oh, I'm
understand that
feeling just the
feeling.
opposite.
That's where I'm at though. That's where I'm at. And
Mhm.
so I understand, look, if there are people out there, because I've had people say to me, just even in the last couple of months, they're like, dude, honestly, like I appreciate it, but I just can't right now. I just really cannot get out. I just can't try and have a good time and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, no worries. First off, just want to let you know, um, there is peer support groups in your area. Trust me, those meetings they're not like this bubbly and happy. So if that's your vibe, man, we've already got it. But B, that's okay. You take some time. You take some time, okay? And in the meantime, some of us are working on some stuff. And I just want you to know that. And I want to update you on that. And when you're ready, when you do have the spoons again to get back out there, and especially when you are pissed and you are ready to fucking do something, hit us up. That's what we're here for. Because I know that the only way we're going to have that, even as a possibility, a couple of years from now, is if we start working today. If we start making progress right now, and we start getting people consciously trying to connect with each other. It doesn't mean we have to show up to absolutely everything, you guys. There's no way we can do that. Okay. There's no way anybody should ever expect, like, hey man, SR, look, dude, I'm already giving $10 to this group and $10 to that group and 15 to that group. And I show up, every Wednesday at this. And then, the second Thursday of the month, there's this and blah, blah. I just don't have the bandwidth. Hey, that's awesome. Like, that's great. I am glad that you are so booked up like that. First off, tell me all the groups that you're supporting and how I can help. A, and then B, if you do get some time, if you do ever get freed up, or hell, you're just on a weekend vacation through Middle Tennessee, hit us up, because we probably got something going on and we'd love to have you there. Um,
Do you
it
envision this organization becoming nationwide?
I would love it. I would
Mhm.
absolutely love if in the long term we could provide a model for people to set up chapters in their area, so that we
Mhm.
can have more of a locally focused presence.
Mm.
Because I think one of the problems with some of the bigger national organizations, is because of their size, it is very difficult for them to be responsive on the ground in very focused ways, right? It's easy to put out messaging, right, about terrible laws coming through in Tennessee or Texas, Alabama, that type of stuff, right? It's much harder to mobilize 50 people to show up at the local school board meeting, especially when you're that large of an organization, because you just honestly, you just can't focus on every little county, across the nation. I totally understand that. I don't fault them for that, right? It is a it is the weird kind of good and bad of having an organization that big. Only through an organization that big are you able to achieve what, you know, places like FFRF, Americans United, American Atheists, you know, recovering from religion. Only through that type of structure are you able to do any of the amazing work that they've done. But
I would love to see a local some local chapters of some people in my area, but I lack the leadership skills to start something like that. I have tried to start groups and they always fall apart. And I realize that I simply lack the leadership skills.
it's a lot of organization. It's a
Mhm.
lot of reaching out to people repeatedly. It's a lot of it is definitely something that is it requires full-time focus. It
Mm,
requires
okay.
it really does. And that is very difficult on a lot of levels. It honestly, it's the reason why you know, 6 months ago, I stepped into this full time. I left
Mm,
where I was and just said, look, I got to go into this all the way. Otherwise, we're never gonna get through it. You know, we're never going to achieve this. So with that, I mean, what I'll say to it is not all of us need to be at the front, and not all of us need to be on the podium. And in fact, I would argue it is the people bringing the podium and setting up the podium and making sure that we have microphones and providing an opportunity for the people that can stand at the front of the marches and do have the 15 minutes at the rally to speak. That is an incredibly important position. We need more organizers. We need more people that are willing to show up early to set up chairs and stay late to take them down. That is an incredibly valuable position. And one of the things that I have been very thankful for already, and I can just honestly tell you wouldn't happen, you know, nothing would have happened without these people. From the beginning, this has been a group effort. It's been something that I knew right from the start. There was no way that this works as a lone person, right?
mhm.
And one of the best things that I think we're in a position to do, and I think this is the right way to grow an organization like this, is to find those other people that are passionate, that are interested, and have a good idea, and support that and help that grow. One of the most important things you can do is being the first follower. There's this really cool TED talk. I think it's only about like 5 or 6 minutes, honestly. And it's called like How to Start a Movement.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's really great. It's really fun and it's really short. And what the guy focuses on is this video of just some dude standing out in the middle of a big field. Looks like, you know, there's probably a few hundred, you know, people around just kind of laying on the grass, whatever, chilling. And this guy is in the middle of the field, like just getting it. I mean, he's going and he is just rocking out, right? And everybody else is just kind of like walking around. They're just like laying there. Nobody's really paying attention or whatever. But what the speaker at TED talks about is he says we're going to use this video to demonstrate, you know, the ways to start a movement. And I won't give it all away. But the point is that after a minute of this guy dancing, somebody runs up to him and starts also dancing. And the speaker, the TED speaker, says, this person right here is one of the most important people in the movement. This is the first follower. And the first follower is actually a leader in a lot of ways. And what they do and how they participate in this moment is incredibly important. And how the leader welcomes that person into the movement and allows that person to take on a bit of what the leader was doing, but also kind of add their own flavor to it, because without that, it won't grow. It has to be rigid enough. There has to be a vision that the leader sees enough. Otherwise, nobody will ever show up, right? But it can't be so inflexible that the next person who comes along doesn't want to participate, right? Because otherwise it can't grow. If it's too rigid, it will never grow. And I say all that to say this, which is one of the best things that we can do is find groups that are already in existence and provide our talents to them. One of the most important things, I guarantee you, folks, if you are interested and you are like, man, I would just help out with a group, it's just any old nonprofit. Like if you like atheists, I mean, if you like secular people, whatever, I'd help out. I can't give like $1,000 or anything each month. I sure can't do that, but I could give like 2 or 3 hours a month or a week or something. I guarantee you there is an organization that can use your skills, whatever they are. It doesn't matter. That's how important it is. And that's how lacking our side is. I can tell you, for instance, just from my experience on my organization, oh my God, I could think of like 12 different spots right now. I could put somebody. If you call me and are just like, hey man, I don't really know much, but I can learn, I'd be like, yeah, cool. How much time you got? And I'll put you through stuff. I'll teach you what I need. And here's how you can help, because
Cool.
there are so many things. And so I'm telling you, if you are wanting more community in your area already, wherever you are in this country, folks, I know there is something that is going on not too far. And just reaching out to that group and just saying like, hey, I'm interested. What could I do? Like, I guarantee they'll put you to work some way.
Okay, we ran out of time 8 minutes ago,
Oh
but I
God.
did not want to stop you because you still had a lot of
I'm
important
so
things to
sorry.
say. So don't feel bad. I'm happy to go over time, when it's something important like that. But we did have a request for you to dance.
It's always worse when there's no music, but like you could just imagine music in your head, you guys.
Okay, and with that, is there anything in closing that you'd like to say?
Oh, not really. I think I said most of it. I'm just always so happy to get to hang out with all the wonderful people that are here, and I love what you do, and I'm just thrilled to be back and hanging with you. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Next week, my guest is going to be Jenny. She is a transgender woman. It's not Jenny Morgan. It's a different Jenny who's a friend of Jenny Morgan, and I don't even know her last name. But we will be talking about helping out the transgender community through the changes that are going on in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to join us for that. And thank you so much, Secular Rarity. It has been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Live your life.